I want to talk to you about Joe Biden. He fell asleep today during a leaders' meeting in Angola. Look, there are plenty. I want to ask you if there are any Biden supporters left. I'm sure you're going to say that there are, but what do you make of him falling asleep at the table in front of the cameras? Is it disappointing for you?
Well, look. I I think that this is something I hadn't seen yet. I wasn't aware of that. But look, President Biden, you got to judge people on their results. And I know there's a lot of imaging and perception that is involved in politics. But now it's about what has this person done, and we have to look at the measure of why did he go to Angola, and it's a very historic trip and one that strengthens the ties between Angola and Africa and the United States. And so President Biden is trying to squeeze in as much as he can in his final few weeks in office, and I think he's making the best of it. So a slip up like that, I'd have to see it in its context, but I think it doesn't outweigh the good work that he's doing in this diplomatic trip to Angola. That's extremely important to their country and to ours. And so I'm happy that the president is doing that, and maybe he's overworking himself, but he's got to do that in the final weeks of his tenure.
Look, we're still getting breakdowns of the US election result. Vice-President Kamala Harris made history in the presidential election, but not the kind that she was hoping for. Kamala Harris became the first presidential candidate since 1932 to fail to flip a single county in the election. There are more than 3,000 counties. She couldn't flip one. What do you put this down to?
Well, look, hey, when you lose, and that's all there is to it. I think a lot of people have over exaggerated the win by Donald Trump. I think it comes down to something like 230,000 votes between the battleground states that gave Donald Trump that victory. So yes, he won the Electoral College. He won the popular vote by a percent. That's what it's looking like in the totals that are coming in. And right here in New York, where I'm from, we actually picked up 3 congressional seats in the House. So there were some bright spots, and I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We could look at probably a million different statistics from the election, and you could take some wisdom from each of those stats. So look, the Democrats lost. I think we do need to regroup and figure out how we reach people and make sure that our message is crystal clear, and what we stand for is making it clear to American families, and it's not these distractions all over the place. So look, Kamala Harris ran, I think, a good campaign, but I think ultimately it was about that Republicans really had a message that fit on a bumper sticker, and Democrats were busy explaining, much like we see incumbents around the world doing. When you have things like inflation, the headwinds are strong, and it's a real hard campaign to win. So I think, given the circumstances and the short campaign, Kamala Harris ran a campaign that she can be proud of.
Look, I know it's early days. What's next for the Democrats?
Well, I think we're going to see a lot in terms of the Democratic National Committee, where they have their new chair. But more importantly, I think it's a time where Democrats really talk about what is the mouthpiece of the Democratic Party? What's the message that we want to send? And I think we're a big tent with many different ideas, but that's in our diversity is our strength. But it's really our unity that is our strength. And we've got to be united, even though we have differences of opinions, even as something as severe as this pardon for President Biden. We can't have this cancel culture where because of one action, we cancel someone and we don't allow them into our party. I think, look, we take people with their flaws and all, but united and together, we look at people in their entirety and lift them up and push them forward. So, hey, 2 years is a long time. That's when the midterms are happening. But I think if Democrats get their ship together and we tighten up our the way we're running things, it could be a high watermark for Republicans.
Democratic strategist and former New York State Senator David Carlucci, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Great to be with you. Thanks.